Hey babe, I'm not having a fat day. Fat days. Fat's an interesting thing. What do most people do when they feel like they're fat? Nothing. Now they say, well, that's it. I'm going to lose this weight. I've had enough, and I'm going to start a diet. Isn't that right? Diet. They say, I'm going to start a diet. They say, they tell their partner, I'm going to start a diet, and they say, here we go again. But I'm serious this time. All those other times, we'll practice. All practice for this event. This is it. Monday, I'm starting my diet. Monday, right? Does anyone here start a diet on a Friday night? Like halfway through a pizza on a Chardonnay going, I must start a diet. No more. I'm starting right now. We always wait to Monday morning. Is that correct? Because there's something magical about Mondays, isn't there? You see, fat physiology shows that fat only comes out of the fat cell on a Monday morning. I've been looking for that research. It must be true because everyone does it. So you start your diet on Monday morning. What do you do on Saturday and Sunday? Pig out. That's it. Life ends on Monday. You say, I'm going to have all the things I really enjoy on Saturday and Sunday because I won't be having them again after Monday. Right up to 12 midnight Sunday night. I've got to finish it because the clock strikes 12 midnight. That's it. Diet starts. So Monday morning starts and you get up and you go, okay, ooh, a bit full. Bit of a tummy ache. Oh, I finished that Black Forest cake. Never to be seen again. Yes. So you get up, so that's it. First thing, you got to go to the gym. So you come down to Core Fitness Centre. You come walking in and the receptionist says, hi, how you going? I haven't seen you since last Monday. So that's it, I'm back, I'm serious. So get on the electronic and you start to do a bit of weights and you're really pumping, you're psyched up. Then you go home and you feel thin already. Don't you feel thin already? I feel thin already. I think I've lost a couple kilos. Then you have your breakfast, a special breakfast. You can be shopping the weekend, you know, raw stuff. Really raw and powdery. Pour it in there. It's like something you raked up in the garden of the weekend, and you get that sort of that cloudy water type milk, the really low fat stuff from really skinny cows. Then you put it in there, and then you take your mouthful, and the stuff almost absorb all the moisture out of your face. It takes you about 3 and swallow it, and it's almost a workout. You sort of get a bit of a cramp in the jaws from eating it. Then you have your half a grapefruit. Isn't there always a half a grapefruit? Yeah, half a grapefruit, half grape. Yeah, because the acidity in the grapefruit dissolves the fat. So you have the half a grapefruit, and as you take your first bite, your face goes. I mean, if it does that to your face, it must burn fat. And you make sure you get the maximum return on it, so you squeeze the grapefruit into your spoon. When no one's looking, you get the skin. You never know, it might work. Works from the inside, must work from the outside. Yes. Then you go off to work that morning, and I'm on my diet. But everyone in the work is having donuts and croissants. Yeah. Mid-morning, you have your apple and a glass of diet water. Negative calories in diet water. Don't drink too much, you'll disappear. Come to lunch, you have your salad sandwich with lots of seeds in it and lettuce and all that stuff. And everyone else having a meat pie on a nice cold winter's afternoon in Melbourne. And around about mid-morning, you're feeling really good. You think, I'm pretty proud of myself, I am. A little pat in the back. Might have to have a little reward. Might have a Tim Tam. Just one. I'll get the light coloured one. There must be lighter. So you have that Tim Tam, and as soon as you eat the Tim Tam, how much weight do you feel like you put on? Like that Tim Tam just exploded inside of me. If you ever sort of feel paranoid about eating a Tim Tam and putting on about 5 kilos, what I recommend you do is get the Tim Tam and put it on the weighing scales first before you eat it. And weigh it. Because what explodes inside is that? Guilt. After that Tim Tam, you go, might have another. Before you know, you cleaned out the whole Tim Tam packet, and then you're on the rampage. So stuff it, I'll start next Monday. We call this the vicious dieting cycle. And I remember when I was with the Gutbuster program, I ran the program up in Queensland, and eating, as Rowie said, is very much psychological, and all the quests so we can lose fat. Let me share a few scientific facts about fat. As you probably know, men and women, we're different in how we carry fat. Where do men tend to carry fat? The gut. We call it the patio over the playground. So, we protect you from the sun down there. Big patio, big playground. Come and have a swing. Yes. Where do women tend to carry fat?
Everywhere.
Around particularly the hips and the thighs. And it's important to understand why we carry it there. Men tend to carry fat around the belly, particularly the belly. And we know now that's quite dangerous fat. But the reason why we carry it there, because we still haven't physiologically evolved that much from hunter and gatherer. So men carry fat around the waist, and we're not supposed to carry a little bit of fat around that, because we're supposed to physiologically go hunting. And hunting is a physical activity. So this little fat, because fat is energy, obviously you say to your wife, I'm going hunting, darling, and you take a little fat roll there, the little tiny bit, and that's like your little spare pack of sandwiches you take with your hunting. Got a little pack of sandwiches. Because when I go hunting, I have to go and get the energy. But these days, men are taking full buffets. Darling, it's going to be a long trip. I better pack a few extra sangers. But the challenge these days is we don't physically hunt. Hunting is get at the phone, Domino's, orders a pizza, and it comes to us. The doorbell rings and says, darling, can you get the door? It's all right, I've trained the dog to do it. But in those days, we saw game, we had to run after it, and we burnt off the energy. The pack of sandwiches we burnt off. And the fat cell in a male is a larger fat cell, and it's more metabolically active, means it releases the fat into the bloodstream very easily and quickly to give us quick energy for hunting. But because you don't physically hunt, we store all this fat, it still releases into the bloodstream, the engine in the body doesn't burn it off because we're not physical anymore, so it floats around the blood, clogs up the arteries, hence men have twice the mortality rate from coronary heart disease, late onset diabetes, gallstones, all sorts of cancers related to abdominal fat. So fat around here for a male is dangerous fat. A waist measurement over 100 centimetres puts you in a high risk of coronary heart disease. So one of the first goals for men is to get your waist down under 100 centimetres. Now the good news is men find it easy to lose weight because we're designed to burn it off for hunting. Women, on the other hand, where do women tend to carry fat? Around the hips and the thighs. Now, why do women carry it there? Because that gives you energy for 9 months of pregnancy. And the good news is it's safe fat, because women's fat cells are a lot smaller, they're more metabolically restrictive, they hold on to the fat to provide energy for 9 months of pregnancy. It's safe because it doesn't release in the bloodstream and lead to clogging up the arteries and giving you coronary heart disease. It's safe. No woman's ever died from big hips. You know what she died of, Doc? Big hip, Chandra. Which means you probably have to be a bit more patient in losing it because the body wants to hold on to it. The other place women carry it is under the arms for lactation once you've had the baby. So that's why you carry it there. So physiologically, you carry it there for a reason. So for a woman to want to get rid of all of this, you're going against nature. So, it's a high amount of pressure you're putting on yourself, particularly when you see magazines of people starving themselves to get it down for a photo shoot, and they spend 6 months leading up to that photo shoot, and you think you can do it on a casual basis. You're going to be compromising your health. Now, fat is interesting. We tend to carry it all over, women more around here and here. Now, one of the first places you tend to carry fat, just for a bit of trivia, is the tongue. One of the first places you put it on. Little fat tongues. The tongue's one of the first places. So imagine you go out tonight, you've had a nice meal, you've got a little fat tongue. You have a few wines, and your muscles are relaxed with a little fat tongue. It's like a little pet, isn't it? Then you go home, you go to sleep, and your muscles are relaxed, a little fat tongue falls back into your mouth, and particularly for men, and you get this. Anyone sleep with that every night? Yeah. Yeah, and it's like a symphony orchestra. It sort of starts nice and easy, then it builds up. And then there's the climax. And what's happening is your tongue's falling back into your mouth. It starts to obstruct the airflow into your lungs, and it gets this type, vibration type feel. But over a period of time, your body's not getting enough oxygen because you've got a blockage there. So the brain's thinking to itself, hey, I'm not getting enough oxygen. I'm going to die. I don't want to die. Wake up. So the body wakes itself up with a little... Now, it's all amusing, particularly when you're kicked out into the sofa. However, it can be quite a challenge to your health because it interrupts your deep sleep. You sleep on the surface, and what happens, you're always waking up. Now, the men don't wake up. And the wife is... And these little ones, it's the little ones too. Someone with this challenge can wake up 100 times a night and not remember any of them. They wake up in the morning thinking they've had a good night's sleep. They're tired again in the afternoon, so you don't have good sleep patterns. So that's one of the first places. And obviously, people with poor sleep, you find you sleep better when you exercise. So exercise is going to make you sleep better, give you more energy to exercise more. So you have to start somewhere to get the cycle going. Some of the places you don't carry fat on the body are the eyelids, little fat eyelids, and parts of the brain, the esophagus, and the male penis. It sort of takes away from the slang term for the male erection, isn't it? It's like you crack a skinny. There's nothing fat about it. One of the things to understand is when you lose fat, you don't have a choice where you lose it. And I'll talk about that when I look at exercise physiology. You don't have a choice where you lose it. Well, what I'm going to share with you is some basic fundamentals of which you can't go against nature. But if you understand that, then you can be patient, adapt around it, and try to get the best result that you possibly can. So let's have a look at losing fat. Women, you have to be more patient. Post-menopause, women start to redistribute the fat more around the waistline, hence your risk of coronary heart disease come up to match that of a male. Where a young woman tends around the hips and the thighs, like the pear shape. We call it the gynoid shape. Men tends to be like the apple shape. Some skinny man is like a straw with a pea in it. The little belly comes out here. And you sometimes, post-menopause, women start to carry it all over. We call that sort of like the fruit box type shape. So you have pears, apples and fruit boxes. You're trying to put a good positive spin on the terms we use. There are more scientific terms, but I won't bore you with them. So how do you burn fat? Well, first of all, we have to burn it. And I want you to think of fat as like petrol in a car. And fat is energy, basically, and the energy is stored in the molecules of the fat as energy is stored in the molecules of petrol. And if you want to burn off the petrol in the car, you actually have to take the car out. You can't expect to sit the car on your couch watching Foxtel Sport and the car's going to burn off the petrol. You've got to get the car out of the couch, out of the garage, and get it moving. And the more you drive the car, the more energy burns. So I'll give you some really simple principles and when it comes to burning off fat. Now, it's a simple law of physics. Energy in, energy out. Energy in, energy out. That's a simple law of physics. And the old saying is, if you're fat, you ate it. I think that's a good quote. If you're fat, you ate it. Ro and I did a national tour of Lisa Carey Kenny and Heather Turlin and Ida Buttrell some years ago as a Women's Empowerment Day. And one of the great quotes that came out of that was from Lisa Carey Kenny. And she said, if you want to lose your butt, get off it. I thought that's really simple, but a lot of time the truth is in the simple things. We try to look for the complicated solution when a lot of times the solution is just quite simple. So if you want to burn it, you have to move it. So here's some basic principles. First of all, when it comes to cardiovascular exercise, or what we like to call huffy puffy, is start to move. Just move. Look for opportunities to move. Treat, we call it incidental activity. Incidental activity is those little day-to-day chores that you don't like doing. Because you just have to get off the couch. Changing the TV, going down, collecting the mail, walking the dog. walking up the stairs, when you take the escalator. Treat them rather than as an inconvenience. Treat them as an opportunity. See, technology, labour-saving devices, remote controls and all that has saved the human body around about 800 calories of energy expenditure in a day. 800 calories a day has been saved. Just the phone at home without the cord has saved us the amount of energy 17 kilometres of walking in a year. Now, thin people will walk with the phone. So they actually increase their movement. But fat people sit with the phone. Rather than when the phone rings, you have to get up and answer it. The phone's always with them. So if you're going to be on the phone, walk around. You find that, and all these little bits add up to quite a large bit. If you see an escalator and stairs, which one do you take? The stairs. Never take the escalator. Overweight fat people take the escalator. And they line up for it. That's it. What's going on up there? So look for opportunities to move. So just move as much as you like. Once you move, look for more opportunities to move more. Look for more opportunities to move more, and move as much as you possibly can in every opportunity you possibly can. If I take the car and I just do little drives around, it's still burning petrol in the car. If the car's just moving little bits at a time, it's still burning petrol across A. So if you're just moving around little bits at a time, getting your mail, walking up the stairs, do your own lawn mowing, parking away from the restaurant, walking to the restaurant rather than trying to people who drive around and around and around trying to find the closest car park. You can probably park way out and walk back and walk past that same person going around and around. And then when you take your shopping, don't put it in the trolley, lift it, because that's a little bit of weight training, because that's overload training, where people look for a trolley to put it in. So always look for opportunities to lift things and move things, and particularly your body. And if you do it on a day-to-day basis, you'll be able to burn off an extra 800 calories a day, which is probably equivalent to about an hour of planned cardiovascular exercise. You'll be amazed what you can do. So move as much as when you walk out, don't go that way, walk the long way. And say hello, hello, and move as much as you. Look for opportunities. When you go to the toilet in the public, go to the far cubicle rather than the closest cubicle. All those little things do add up. So move more. When you do your planned stuff in here, move as much as you can in the time that you have, because everyone's different. And once you've got that, try to move faster. Try to do more of what you got. So eventually you want to get to the stage where you want to put everything you got in everything you do. So if you're going to spend 10 minutes on the treadmill, move as fast as you can for those 10 minutes, because that will get you fitter. And here's a nice thing to understand. Fitter people burn fat faster. The goal is not to actually count the calories. Anyone count calories on them? Stop doing that. This is counting calories. Just say, for example, I'll use this example. You hop on a treadmill, you do about half-hour cardiovascular exercise, what we call around about 70% of maximal heart rate or 70% of MVO2, which is a good amount of intensity. You may burn off around about 300 calories. Out of those 300 calories, you burn about 200 of those calories would come from carbohydrate, which is your sugar, and about 100 calories would come from actual fat. Now, considering that how many calories in a gram of fat, there's 9 calories in 1 gram of fat, so 1 kilogram of fat will have 9,000 calories in 1 kilogram of fat. You just burn off 100 calories, so you burnt off 1/90th of a kilogram of fat. If you do that program 3 times a week, it will take you 30 weeks to burn off 1 kilogram of fat. Are you motivated? No. Stop counting calories. Because that cardiovascular session you do is not where you burn the fat. That is a stimulus to turn your body into a fat-burning machine. So get on the treadmill, get on the bike, get on the boxing session, get in the class, and get fitter. Because if you get fitter, then you turn your whole engine into a fat-burning machine. So while you're sitting here tonight, the fitter people are burning off more energy and more fat. We call it you're changing your respiratory quotient. It means your body starts to burn fat. Because elite athletes burn fat and save carbs. Unfit people conserve fat and burn sugar. So get fit to burn fat. Don't count calories. Do what you can with what you got and put everything into it. If you're going to go for a walk on the beach, walk as fast as you can, so get your heart rate up. Don't sort of, oh, there's a nice shell, that's lovely. And there are walks like that. There are love walks with your partner. But if that's going to be an exercise session and you're not actually losing body fat, then you're probably not putting enough into it. So move more, move faster, and then move differently. Mix it up and do what you actually love to do. Nice simple tips for cardiovascular. Put everything you got into what you love and you start to get fantastic results. So moving burns off the petrol in the engine. And that's fine. Cardiovascular exercise is sensational for you to do to burn fat up until around about the age of 20. So who's under 20? Hands up. You're okay? Over 20? Okay. And the reason why I say that, because after age 20 years of age, and this is not for everyone, but over the population, after the age of 20 you start to suffer from a disease called sarcopenia. It means a loss of muscle tissue with age. So sarcopenia, you start to lose muscle tissue with age, which means every year you lose a bit of muscle tissue. Even if you're doing cardiovascular exercise. Tufts University looked at elite marathon runners, and even at that, elite long distance runners, by the age of 65 years of age, they had lost just as much muscle tissue as someone who've done no exercise over their life. So they had the same muscle loss. They're fitter, healthier, and thinner, but they still had lost the muscle tissue. Now, the average person will lose about half a pound of muscle per year after the age of 20. So in a decade you lose about 5 pounds of muscle. Now, considering that every pound of muscle burns off around about 50 calories, in that decade your body's ability to burn off energy will be reduced by around about 250 calories. So you lose muscle. And think of muscle as the engine in the car. When you're young, at 20 years of age, you've got a good jet engine. When I was 20, I could do whatever I want and never put on weight. But when you get to 30, that jet engine sort of goes down to a V8. And then down to 40, it's down to a 6-cylinder, and 50, it's down to a Hyundai Sprint. And at 60, you're down to a 2-stroke lawnmower. But you're still taking the 2-stroke lawnmower to the buffet, filling up the tank like it's a jet engine, and you're saying nothing's changed. Yeah, what's changed is internally your muscles are wasting away and you're replacing it with fat. Yes. Now, even if you're doing cardiovascular exercise, it will slow it down, but you're still going to be losing it. So the only way to reverse that is, you ever heard the saying, if you don't use it, you lose it? Well, if you want to get it back, you have to start using it again. And you want to look after the engine, because the engine is where the fat is burnt, that's where the energy is burnt. And in the human body, the engine is the muscle. So it's great that we're here at a gym, because I'm sure all of you do strength training. Because now with what we're finding with the research, strength training maintains your muscle tissue, or actually replaces it for women if you already lost it, and for men has the ability to put more muscle tissue on. Now, women don't have that ability to put much muscle tissue on, but if you can just keep it, so you keep your jet engine, so when you get to 50, 60, 70, you've still got a jet engine, then you're going to be fighting a winning battle rather than fighting a losing battle. Because if your body's ability to burn off energy every decade is reduced by 250 calories, then maybe at 20 you only need to do one aerobic class a day to get by. By the time you're 30, you have to do 2 aerobic classes or group exercise classes. In a group exercise class, you burn off about 250 calories. By 40, you have to do 3 a day. By 50, you have to do 4 a day. By 60, you have to do cardiovascular exercise all day, because you're fighting against this losing battle. But the great news is, and what we found in the research now, and we obviously used to do this with elite athletes, but for general population, doing strength training is going to help the muscle. So some of the great benefits of doing strength training is, number one, it maintains your muscle. And for women, it's going to maintain it. If you can maintain your muscle tissue from age 20 right through your life, then you're going to be in good shape. You're going to be fighting a winning battle. But if you start losing muscle tissue, you're going to be fighting this losing battle with this food and all these other challenges. With men, as you know, we can put on muscle. Now, men are quite comfortable putting on muscle. But the challenge with ladies is, when we talk about strength training, a lot of ladies think of, if I do a bit of weights, I'll turn into those big muscle women. You seen those ones? See them on the TV? They're ugly. Yes. Now, I will share something with you. Weight training didn't make them ugly. They were ugly before. That's why they became competitive bodybuilders. They came out of the room. Mum, give me a titty. And a lot of ladies think if you do one weight training session, you wake up the next morning and go to your partner, morning. It's your turn to make breakfast. I'm going to have a shave. Now, those elite female bodybuilders, first of all, they've got absolutely fantastic genetics. They've also got lots of male hormones in them, naturally. That's what makes them great athletes and great bodybuilders. Plus, they enhance that with a lifestyle which is really conducive to muscle gain, and they will measure everything, and they train really hard. Plus, they take other additives, you know, all the other drugs and so forth that turn them into the freaks that they may come across as. But for the average lady, I mean, if you want to put on muscle today, it's not going to happen. Even if I gave you the drugs, it's not going to happen because you don't have that gene pool to do that. So for ladies, please don't be fearful that you're going to turn out to one of these, you know, those like men dressed up as women type looking people. Because that won't happen. What you want to be doing is doing strength training to maintain your muscle or increase it, because if you do that, it's going to increase your basal metabolic rate. It means the metabolic rate is how much energy you're burning off at rest. So right now, doing what you're doing right now is where most of your energy throughout the day is actually burnt off. But how much you burn off is dependent upon what's revving underneath the surface, which is the muscle. So you want to condition that muscle with good cardiovascular, huffy-puffy activity, and put the muscle in for a fine-tuning session with your strength training. So I want you to consider burning off the fat is like taking your car driving. But you've got to put your car in for a tune-up once every 10,000 kilometres. In strength training, you have to put your body in for a tune-up doing weight training, which maintains the muscle so it can keep burning the energy. The other great thing is, obviously, it's going to change your body shape, because if you want to get significant body shape changes, you will need to do strength training. You don't have a choice where you lose fat. You know, it comes off all over, but you do have a choice where you tone up, which is doing a bit of strength work. So you can really start to change your body shape. Other great benefits of doing strength training is it will increase what we call bone mineral density. 1 in 3 ladies will get, you know, osteoporosis, you know, because you're not using it. You know, what we call osteopenia leading on to osteoporosis. Research now shows if the ladies do strength training, particularly when they start young, because your bone mineral density starts to decline over time. But if you maintain strength training, it stays up. Particularly when you go through that period of menopause, if the higher it is there, the less likely you're going to get osteoporosis. So start lifting weights so you can increase your bone mineral density. Obviously, when you get strong muscles and strong bones, then that's going to fight against things such as arthritis. Now, doing strength training won't get rid of arthritis, but it will actually maintain or control the pain of arthritis. So arthritis, other great things, joint stability, so it improves your quality of life, what moves you around on a day-to-day basis. It's your muscles and your bones and your joints. But what your bones and joints do is based on your muscle strength, your muscle control. So maintain muscle is going to reduce the stress on your joints, enhance your quality of life. Other metabolic diseases are found to be controlled or suppressed by doing some good strength training. Things such as diabetes. Doing strength training increases the sensitivity to insulin. That helps lower your blood sugar levels. Strength training also lowers your bad cholesterol, what we call your low density lipoprotein, so it fights against cholesterol challenges in coronary heart disease. So the great thing is, what we're finding is, it's great to do huffy puffy, but it's really vital that you do strength training. It's no longer a recommendation, it is an essential, because we don't use those muscles like we used to when we were hunting and gathering and lifting logs and building our own houses and wrestling and all sorts of stuff. Now we have to do that in here in a great environment such here at Core Fitness, where we can actually do controlled strength training. So let's have a look at strength training, because there's been lots of misconceptions with strength training. There's lots of reasons why people don't do it. One of the main reasons why the general public don't do strength training, because they associate with strength training long, tedious programs, lots of time commitment, coming in 3-4 times a week, doing lots and lots of these complicated type weight training programs. What we found, particularly in the last 10 years, is that we now realise you don't have to do as much as you used to think you had to do, and it doesn't have to be anywhere near as complicated as we used to think you used to do. So let me share some things which is going to be very helpful to be able to not be able to map your life into a strength training program, but be able to map a strength training program and a fitness program into your life as the way it should be. Because who here doesn't have a lot of time in their life? Hands up. And one of the big reasons why people don't do what they like to do is purely because we don't have time. Now, the beautiful thing is with cardiovascular exercise and strength training, we can wedge it into your life. For example, the World Health Organization, from a huffy-puffy cardiovascular exercise point of view, recommends at least 100 minutes a week of accumulated cardiovascular exercise. Now, triathlons and more serious trainers will do a lot more than that. But the beautiful thing is you don't have to do it all in one big lump sum. You can actually break it up. After one of my seminars, a lady came up and says, look, I don't have time to do this because I have 3 kids, I have a career, and my husband also has a career. And I said, okay, do you have 5 minutes first thing in the morning? She said, yeah, I can do 5 minutes of around the block. Do you have 5 minutes at lunch? She said, well, yeah, I could probably do 5 minutes at lunch. I said, do you have 5 minutes at the end of the day? She said, yeah, well, I could do 5 minutes at the end of the day. So that's 15 minutes every day, times 7 is 105 minutes. You're doing 5 minutes too much. You're overtraining, we have to trim 5 minutes off. So you can actually break it up into smaller amounts. But when there's a bigger time opportunity comes, then take that opportunity, jump on it, and get as fit as you possibly can. Strength training is very similar. You don't have to do a lot. So let me take you through some basic principles of how you can design a strength training program which is going to be very easily fit into your lifestyle. So first of all, when you look at frequency of training, how often you should do a strength training program. So when it comes to frequency, now we're finding that you only need to do it as little as 1 session a week. 1 session a week. Now, if you're really committed, you may want to do more, but the question is, it may not necessarily give you any more benefit. You only need to tune your car up once every 10,000 kilometres. Tuning it more often than that is not going to give you any more benefit in the engine of the car. We're now finding that with strength training, because when you overload a muscle, and you provide a load on the muscle relative to your ability, that stimulates the muscle, and that muscle then needs time to recover, regenerate, then what we call overcompensate. It's like rubbing your hand to get a callus. You provide the stimulus, which is the rubbing, wears the skin down, then it takes time for build up the skin, and the skin actually overcompensates and gets thicker. If I go into the sun, I get the sun, I get a bit of sunburn, then the body heals itself, and then actually gives you a bit more of a tan to overcompensate. So the body is this amazing adaptive organism which continually overcompensates. Now, when it comes to a muscle point of view, when you stimulate a muscle, it can take up to 7 days for the full muscle to fully recover and overcompensate. So if you train all your muscles in 1 day, it will take you 7 days before you need to train again. And I've worked with elite athletes where we only train them once a week, so they've got plenty of other time to do all their other types of training. 1 good quality session for you is all you need. If you don't train so hard and you train by yourself, you may do 2 sessions. But many times if you naturally train harder, or you have a trainer to push you to closer to your potential, then you may only need 1 session. That frees up a lot more time to do your other huffy-puffy activity, other types of group exercise classes and other things that you want to do. So it's no use doing more than what's needed, because that's just wasting your time. So 1 session a week is all required. When it comes to different exercises, what exercises should I do? You should do what we call big exercises. Big exercises give you big results. Little exercises give you little results. I'm continually a little bit what I call fascinated, sometimes people call it frustrated, when I see people exercising and they're not going to get a return on their training. For example, some people want to do, I want to turn up my legs, so they lay on the ground and start lifting the leg off the ground. See these ones? You ever see these exercises, side leg raises? Thinking, what do women, or particularly women do that because they want to turn up your thighs? Well, first of all, we say, is it functional? I mean, what part of life do you do that? Do you walk around the streets doing this? It's not really functional. From an anatomical point of view, what muscles does it work? You get a little burning, you get that little burning sensation in the leg. What you're doing is you're lifting your leg up. You're only using 2 little muscles to do that movement. A muscle called your tensor fasciae lata and your gluteus medius. It's only little muscles. And there's these little muscles, you lift it up long and up and down, up and down, up and down. And they get tired. They go, oh, geez, I'm getting tired. Oh, geez, up and down. And they start to dig in what we call, they use glycogen, or your carbohydrate, as a source of energy, which is your body sugars. And when you use glycogen or your sugars as a source of energy, it releases a byproduct called lactic acid. And that lactic acid pushes up against the nerve endings and gives that little burning sensation. If you get the burn, it means you're not burning fat. All you're burning is sugar with the byproduct of lactic acid pushing up against the muscles, giving that sensation of burning. You think, wow, that feels like exploding fat cells. It's not exploding fat cells, you're not burning fat. all you're doing is fatiguing these two little muscles that make no difference at all. It's not like people notice those two muscles. You don't walk down the street and someone go, check out their tensor fasciator lata, isn't it beautiful? Yeah, but check out the gluteus medius. Well, stick it in there. Like, what gives your leg the shape that it has? It's quadriceps, hamstrings, glutes, and how do you train those ones? Squats and lunges. But they're hard. But that's why they work. They're hard. They're also functional, means they relate to daily life activities, because at the end of the day you go home and little Junior's on the ground, you squat down and pick up Junior, don't you? Hello, Junior. You don't side leg raise Junior and catch him. So if you want to work your legs, do the big exercises, because they work everything, and they also work your tensor fasciator and gluteus medius, but also all the muscles through here, and most importantly they work your abdominals. So stop wasting time doing something that gives you nothing but a nice little burning sensation. Now, if you want to work your abs, a lot of people lay down and do these things. You know, what are you trying to do? You're trying to get the little six-pack or tone up your tummy. Well, how much fat does that burn? It burns nothing. All you're doing is squishing the fat and releasing the fat. Squishing the fat, squish it up and release it. You might just stand up and just squish, 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 squish. And then you do those little squishes, you know, the little because what you're doing is you're holding your abdominals in a little isometric contraction, means, and lactic acid is building up, it's not being buffered out, pushed up against the nerve endings, and you feel that burn. Oh yes, I can feel the fat cells burning. Or I'm building the muscle. There's no overload. What are you lifting? Air molecules on your head? If I went into the gym and I did this, you'd wonder what I'm doing. You say, what are you doing? Turning up the bicep. Well, what's the difference between this and this? If you want to train your abdominals, they don't function on the ground. The purpose of these muscles is to stabilise your pelvis and the lower back in the upright position so you can do these types of activities. So why would you train these muscles that function in the upright position by laying down, doing this? Doesn't stabilise the pelvis, doesn't stabilise the lower back, doesn't burn fat, and it does hardly anything for muscle tone. All it does is build up a nice little isometric burn in the tummy. If you want to work the abs, you probably get a better workout getting up and off the ground. Just get up and down, up and down, up and down. Works your legs and your abdominals. Well, the best way to train your abdominals is doing squats, lunges, because what has to work when you're doing them? Now, they're not moving, and don't do this while you're doing it either. You don't have to move a muscle to work a muscle. You just have to load a muscle, and as you get stronger in those exercises, so we're going to cut out a lot of time. And a lot of people do this because you think you can actually spot reduce. The only way you can burn fat off is the only way you can, it's like burning a petrol off the car. So I'm going to get the petrol off the car. Do I go up to the car, get the bonnet of the car, and open and shut the bonnet? What are you doing? Burning the petrol? No, I actually get to the car and I've got to actually take it out of the garage and take it spinning. Now, a lot of people will try to find quick solutions like rubbing fat creams, and it's like rubbing cream on the car. Is that going to get rid of the petrol out of the car? Or putting powders or pills, fat metabolizers. That's putting in the car's engine. Is that going to burn off the petrol? What burns off the petrol? And now there's this new thing, those vibration plates. Just shake the fat off. If I went in my car and shook the car, will it get rid of the petrol? I just got to stand there and just shake. I'll save you $2,000. Just stand there and do this. Or get very nervous. And you save yourself a lot of money on these machines that are selling you empty promises, because they break every law of basic physiology. So when you lose fat, the best way to lose it is cardiovascular. And cardiovascular, huffy puffy, and what you're putting in your mouth. Also understanding you don't have a choice where you lose it off your body. If I have a pool, I don't have a choice where I can take water out of the pool. If I get a bucket, I said, look, I might take a bit of water out of the deep end. Do I get a little scoop in the deep end? I'm going to take it out of the deep end, not the shallow end. Does that work? No, because it goes in both ends. So ladies, this is the deep end. This is the shallow end, right? So sometimes you have to sort of, how much do I want to take out of my deep end without compromising my shallow end, which is up here? You know, you can't sort of push the water up the shallow end and take it out of the deep end. You just can't do that, unfortunately. So that's where it's important that you understand that. But if you do the big exercises, squats, bench presses, push-ups, dips, because you're working, a lot of days you want to work this one, so you with the dumbbells, or to try to work the back of the arm. You're not burning any fat off there. Go and do some push-ups. Go and do some dips, because they put more load and they work all the upper body, and you get a far greater physiological response. They're not functional unless you play pool, snooker maybe, and you grab a little tiny weight. You know, you grab a 1 2-pound dumbbell. You go, oh, great workout. Then you pick up your 10-pound gym bag. You might as well just grab your 10-pound gym bag. You know, it's like sometimes you hop on the leg press. You put 20 kilos on each side and put 10 kilos each side. 20 kilos, great. Then you squat into it and you weigh 60 kilos. So you squat into the leg press with your 60 kilo to lift 20 kilo. What's with that? You're actually underloading. You're better off hopping in and out of the leg press 10 times. Because at least you're squatting your own body weight. To hop on a machine that you think's going to actually give you a result. If you're going on the machine, put some weight on. It's called progressive overload. No, these do chin-ups. They're great for you. And why can't women do chin-ups? Because you don't do them. Oh, they're too hard. You haven't tried them. Oh, I can't even do one. Well, just try to do one. It's amazing what chin-ups do when women do chin-ups. It empowers them. I used to train lots of ladies in chin-ups. They get up there and they get one, and they come down. Oh, look at that. Get out of my way. I'm on top tonight. So ladies, don't be afraid of the big exercises. They give the big results. These little exercises will give you very little results, if any results at all. So pick the bigger exercise is going to give you the bigger results. When it comes to number of sets, you want to do your best set. And the great thing with research, you only need to do 1 set of each of those exercises. Only 1 set. So when you look at your big exercises, there are 3 basic movements. There's the leg movements, there's the push movements, and there's the pull movements. So there's 3 basic movements in the body that covers all the muscles. So if you do, say, squats, and you do a bench press, and you do a chin-up or a row, you've trained every muscle in your body. Everything's been hit. And if you do that with the big exercise, and you put a good effort in relative to you, you're going to get great results. What we tend to do is do too many exercises where we start to pace ourselves, and the exercises we do are very ineffective. When you come to number of sets, you only need to do 1 set, your best set. Because if you do your best set, you couldn't do it again anyway. So just focus, go in there, prepare yourself, do 1 great set, then move on to the next exercise. 1 great set. And you only need to flick the light switch once to turn the light on. You have to flick it on three times. Flick on, off, on, off, on, off. You just got to do it once, but do it really, really well. If you're not used to this, get a trainer to help you. I've trained people all my life, and with one set with the trainer pushing you to your potential, you can get a great result. When it comes to repetitions, muscles can't count. Muscles can't count. All they can feel is a progressive overload. So when it comes to repetitions, do as many as you can. Don't stop at 10 if you can do 11. Don't stop at 12 if you can do 15. If you get over 12, put the weight up. There's a nice little thing. When you get over 12, put the weight up. If you get over 12, put the weight up. The main goal for you to focus on, for men or women, is to get better at it. If nothing's changing on the bar, nothing's changing on the skeleton. If nothing's changing on the bar, nothing's changing on the skeleton. If you increase the weight on the bar, you increase the muscles on the skeleton, which makes the skeleton strong, the joints strong, your muscles strong, you increase metabolism. Men will put on muscle, women won't put on much muscle because you don't have the level of hormones such as testosterone and human growth hormone. But the great thing we found with women is your engine revs will increase. Your metabolic rate comes up, and that increases your energy expenditure in a day-to-day. Plus it makes you strong. Plus it fights against osteoporosis. Plus it gives you a great quality of life. So when it comes to repetitions, muscles can't count. A more experienced person may go as low as 6 repetitions, and you may go up to 12. But the most important thing is get some guidance. Whatever the repetitions that you choose, put your whole heart and soul into it. But the great thing is you don't have to do it 30 times over 10 exercises. You can only need to do it once. So you're looking at anywhere between 1 session a week, 3 to 4 big exercises, which hits all the body, which means you're only going to be doing overall 3 to 4 major efforts at repetitions anywhere between 6 to 12. And make you do that with the speed where you can control the movement So you're in control of the bar for nice safety. Obviously when you do this, get a trainer to get you in a position where you can get the best result and safety. The most important thing is to maximise the stimulus on the muscle while taking the stress off the joint. And that will make the joint stronger, the bone stronger, the muscle stronger, the engine bigger. And when you've got a bigger engine, you tend to do more things in life. You tend to bound up the stairs, not wait in line for the escalator. You tend to run the dog, not the dog walk you. Right? And one of the best fat burning machines, by the way, is a dog. I spent the afternoon with my sister-in-law walking Marley, the dog, on the beach. And Marley, the dogs just don't stop, do they? You learn a lot from dogs. Can you learn a lot from dogs? When you take the dog for a walk, what does the dog do? What does a human do when they go to the gym? Oh, God, I have to go to the gym. And they have to go for a walk? Oh, my God. What does the dog do? Be like a dog. You know, when you haven't seen your partner all day and they come home, what does the dog do? What does your partner sometimes do? Oh, yeah, okay. See, you can work a lot of solutions learning from a dog. From activity, they always want to run. They enjoy food too, don't they? What do people go, oh, geez, what will make me fat? I want to be good, I don't know. The dogs go to that, dogs go, no, they can go, okay, now where can I run to? So lots of lessons in real simple things. Overall, it follows what we call the KISS principle. Keep it simple and short.